Steph, introduce yourself. Like, what do you do? What's your age and your background?
Yeah, of course. So I like to start off by saying I'm a very passionate individual. I feel like I lead with a lot of passion and creativeness. I'm currently right now in the tech space, so I work for a tech company downtown. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Chicago, born and raised. So.
And where did you graduate again from?
I graduated from DePaul University.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was your major?
I studied PR and advertising. I've always been super into creative things. And so I actually was going to transfer from DePaul to Columbia to study fashion merchandising, but I was kind of too far into the program at the time, and I figured that instead of studying business or something, I could study PR and advertising and still kind of create my opportunities and internships centered around fashion. So I kind of did that and just did PR, and it worked very well. So
what made you at a young age, what made you want to pursue that? Like, at what age did you realize that you want to do that with your life?
Yeah, I was kind of struggling a little bit, deciding a major. Fashion has always been a really big passion of mine. And so kind of during that, I was like, well, DePaul's not really a fashion-based school. And again, if I were to transfer out, how would that kind of work for me? And so I was like, I feel like life sometimes is you're missing one piece of the puzzle, right? And I'm like, if I can't get that perfect piece, how can I utilize my skills and resources now to make that fit? Okay. So that's how I kind of did that there. I was like, I could just study PR and advertising, and I had internships at Vera Wang and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of curate my experiences based on my passions.
And how was growing up though? Did you struggle a little bit? Did you have insecurities that you had to overcome? Or talk about a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I feel like growing up, I grew up in Elmwood Park, which is really close to the city. I've had the amazing privilege of going to private schools my whole life, but I definitely was a little bit of the odd one out. I'm Latina, and I went to a very white-based school, and so I kind of struggled a lot with my identity and resonating with people. I felt like I kind of also changed some of my mannerism to fit into, and that's kind of going to college and just meeting a lot of different people from different backgrounds was something that really enlightened my eyes and kind of woke me up. I was like, there's so much of the world to see, and it's not, sometimes you don't have an ideal growing up circumstance, but there's a lot of.
Did you feel left out sometimes though, since you were Latina and also half Middle Eastern too? How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I definitely got bullied in 7th and 8th grade, appearance wise, and I feel like when you're so little, you have no idea. Everyone's going through puberty and everyone's figuring it out. But I definitely kind of got singled out with a couple of other Middle Eastern people that were from my town. And they would say really mean things to us about being Middle Eastern and relating 9/11 to us. And it was just kind of messed up. And so I had a lot of insecurity through that. And, I have grown through that. And now I use kind of being from two different ethnic backgrounds as a superpower and something beautiful. Now I'm absolutely in love with my culture, and I find people from other cultures so interesting. And yeah.
What do you relate to most? Your Latino side, or because I'm Mexican, both my parents are Mexican. This guy's Mexican too, and I feel like I'm more Americanized than Mexican. What about you?
Yeah, that's another thing too that I've struggled with. It's I don't speak fluent Spanish. One thing in my life, I'm going to be fluent in speaking Spanish, but for a long time I felt a disconnect because I didn't speak fluent Spanish, that I wasn't able to be Latina because I wasn't 100% being able to be fluent with it. But I will say that it kind of depends. If I'm hanging out with a lot of my Spanish friends, I love to dance to reggaeton, and I love micheladas, and I just went to Guatemala for 10 days. So I'm super close with my Spanish side, and I want to get a little bit more involved in my Middle Eastern side. I grew up speaking Armenian, but I did not, unfortunately, carry that with me today.
Okay. And both parents were in the picture too, right?
Yes, both of my parents are still in the picture together.
So I know the Hispanic culture, they're very strict with women. Yes. So with my sister, they didn't let her do what I'm doing now.
Really?
Even at my age right now, I'm 23.
Yeah.
So they're actually strict with her still, and she's 27.
Yeah.
They'll be hey, come home before 2. Yeah. I don't know if you ever experienced that too, as a Latina.
Yeah. Thankfully, my parents were a little bit more chill. I am also the eldest, so I did a lot of things first, and I was a little snaky and sneaky, growing up and just hanging out with friends. But thankfully, I've had that open and honest relationship with my parents where I was hey, I'm going out, or I'm going to be with friends, and they respected that. And my Hispanic side of my family is very encouraging of me pursuing any arts or any type of field, which I'm very blessed for. I feel it's the more Middle Eastern side that's a little bit more strict and more traditional. for me, in my experience at least.
So, in what culture do you feel like you belong more? Like the Hispanic side, white side, Armenian side?
Yeah.
Where do you belong more?
I feel like Hispanic. Like, I just love to dance. I love to embody all the food in the culture. Like, I was just in Guatemala for 10 days, so I've connected with my family, and, you know, just being in your country is so beautiful. And we were there with my abuelo, and it was an amazing experience. But I will say, like, I love Middle Eastern food. I love the music. I've had the beautiful privilege of going to Istanbul for 2 weeks before and meeting my family. So I want to experience more of that side of me too. And I don't like to think that I'm too white. Like, you know, I like to like really be passionate about my two cultures. But, you know, we do live in a society in Chicago. And so, you know, I guess I am to a certain extent a little bit white, but I really resonate with being Spanish and Middle Eastern. So. And
then you went to, so during high school, how was like making friends though? Because I know you said you didn't know what side to pick, and also the insecurities too as well. Yeah. What did you tell yourself to like overcome those stuff? Yeah. Or push you through high school? So
I did have like a solid group of girlfriends going into high school, which was amazing. So we kind of like were each other's rocks for a long time. I got involved in sports, so that also helped kind of meet new people and connect with people. I still always kind of felt like the odd one out. Like I didn't really look like everybody, but I think that's again like a superpower that I now have, you know. Sweet. But yeah.
Validation you were looking for? Because for me myself, I think I was looking for validation, which I partied a lot to connect with other people. At least personally for me. I don't know if you also see
like
for
validation and acceptance, I would say. Like you're just, especially in high school, you're so young and so susceptible, and you just want to be fitting in and like with the times and with everybody. And I just wanted to be also liked by people. And so I felt like I did kind of bend myself to maybe be like, oh, I'm more Italian, or like, oh, I'm white, or I'm from this area. And like, you know, I think you're just so little and lost, and like you don't know a lot of stuff that you know now. So I think that was kind of where I drew the line. And
did you have any boyfriends or relationships during high school, or?
I did, yeah. So toward my senior year, I had one relationship, and that was, you know, you're just so young too. So that was like really interesting to experience. You have a lot of firsts, you learn a lot, you grow a lot. And, you know, I thought he was my person forever type of thing, you know, I don't know. It was so naive and like your first love. You know, we broke up, I think my freshman year of college. So, I mean,
And during college though, how was that like transitioning from high school to college?
Yeah.
You got that more freedom, but also too, you have to be on top of your stuff because you're paying for it.
Totally, yeah. So again, like I kind of grew up in Chicago my whole life, so the city was no stranger to me. Like I feel like we'd always, like when we were 16, we immediately wanted to go downtown and like drive around. And my transition was really easy. I lived at home the first couple months and then eventually got my own place in the city, which taught me a lot about independence, a lot about development, a lot about strict and time management, because, you know, when you live on your own, I didn't have any roommates or anything. I lived in a studio apartment and I really had to get it together. I was like, okay, now I need to block for study, and I need to cook dinner, and I need to maintain my space. I also think your space is a reflection of your mindset. So for me, I was always cleaning and diligent, but it was like the first couple weeks I would like put my dishes in the sink and be like, oh, I'll get to it later. Or like, you know, if you live at home, maybe your mom or your dad will pick it up. Then I'd come back and I'm like, wait, my dishes are still here. Like, you know, it's just like, so I think it just taught me a lot about like responsibility too. And just.
Did you feel stressed though picking DePaul? Because I know like there's other people around you going to Ivy League schools, Harvard, whatever. Yeah. Did you ever feel like competitive or scared to tell other people where you were going?
A little bit. I think it was a little safe choice for me, honestly, just being completely transparent. I think I picked it because it was really close and I was in a relationship when I started going to school. So I think that had a factor in it. But now looking back, if I had to redo that moment in my life, I would love to go to California or like Miami. Like I would have really sent it to experience something completely else and like uncomfortable, because I really think like a lot of growth comes from discomfort. So I wish I wouldn't have been so nurtured as to be close to my family and just kind of had that growth experience of kind of being, oh shit, well, we have to figure it out.
And what was like the craziest year though for you, the most stressful one?
The most stressful year?
Yeah, because like you were I think you were a senior when the COVID happened, right?
Yeah. So I graduated early, actually. I finished up college in March of 2020, but I think COVID started in February. So that was just like panic. Like I had a lot of experiences under my belt. Like I said, I was an intern at Vera Wang. I was an editorial intern at a magazine company. I worked at like a couple like fashion places downtown. And so when COVID happened, I was like, well, my experiences don't really amount to anything because everybody is cutting budgets, cutting positions. And I felt really insecure and vulnerable about that because also, you know, I'm first generation here. My parents, you know, were both born in their respective countries. And so I like to put a lot of pressure on myself of being like, I need to like show up and show them why it was worth it to make those sacrifices. And, you know, I want to take care of myself to the point where I could take care of my family one day and my sister and like my friends, you know? And so I was really freaking out. But during that time in my life, I was like, well, I'm just not going to sit here and not do anything. So I really started to get into like self-development and books and journaling and breath work. And I felt that gave me a lot of insight as to like, who am I as a person? Like, not what everybody else wants me to be or what they want me to become, but like, what do I like and what are my interests and like, how do I want to grow? So it was stressful, but very like, great for me, I think.
No, that's actually awesome. I felt like for me, real life hit me when I was a junior. I felt like everything was just a party phase. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I switched my majors twice. I transferred to 3 different schools, and I felt like I was confused myself, right?
Yeah.
So what made you declare like your major though, like at the end, or how many times did you switch your majors?
Yeah, I think I did it twice. I was undecided for like a while, and then I just started taking PR and advertising classes because I was really, again, passionate about doing something creative. Like I grew up just like making YouTube videos with my cousin, and we would post things. Like we were always creating. So I knew I needed to go into a space that like would allow me to have some kind of outlet like that. And so when I was really looking at transferring to Columbia, I was looking at their fashion merchandising program. I was like, I would love to do that, but it just didn't make sense. Like the cost to transfer was insane. Like a lot of my credits wouldn't transfer, so I'd be behind, and it was stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I think PR and advertising is for me, because I think I took like 1 or 2 classes and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
I don't know if I love it, but it's something that resonated with me more than, let's say, like, I don't know, economics or doing something of like a math major. And so
you work in a tech company, right?
Yes.
And you used to work in a like magazine company also?
Yeah, I was an intern at a magazine company.
So how was that jump? How was the change?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting actually. Like my first job out of college was for a small beauty brand company. They were like in Sephora and Nordstrom, and I was a sales and marketing assistant. So I was basically aiding both sides of the business. And for me, I love all things fashion. I love all things beauty. And so for me, that was like my creme de la creme. I was so interested in that space. Unfortunately, like my mental health had kind of taken a toll. I think mental health is so important, and like I felt that I wasn't valued at that job specifically that I was at, and that affected me and my relationships with myself, my relationships with other people. I was having a lot of panic attacks, and normally that's not a norm for me. So when I was kind of going through that, I knew that there needed to be a shift, and there was an opportunity where someone had messaged me on LinkedIn about a tech job. And it was kind of that perfect transition where I was like, I literally put in my 2 weeks and I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do next, but I just need to get out of this job for my health. Like my health is more important than any paycheck I'll get, any gratification, you know, take care of yourself. And then it was like seamlessly the universe kind of put something in front of me. And I was like, oh, I'll bite. Like, and so I just kind of went with it. And then I did the interview process, and that's the company I'm currently at now. And it's been a really interesting ride because if you told me like 2 years ago you'd be in tech, I'd be like, okay, you're kidding. You know, it just didn't align with my fashion and beauty kind of road. But I'm learning a lot. And I think that goes to show like you're not limited to anything, and you could pivot at any time. And like, while that may not be my career forever, tech, I'm learning so much about skills and building relationships. And also tech is a really like interesting industry to be in right now. So I'm just kind of like, I'm trusting the process of where I'm supposed to be right now.
And did you feel like you were in a disadvantage just because you were a minority too? Or, and if you were, like, how'd you overcome that? How'd you tell people like, yo, this is a boundary? Like, push off.
So do you mean like my first company I was at, or
both companies?
Company? Yeah. So my first company, again, it was in the beauty space. So it was targeted to women, right? And it was like, what women do we want to target? And asking a lot of like hard questions that I didn't align with. Like I didn't love targeting a specific race because they may be known to be having these problems, and our product can fix that.
Specifically white women, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you know, and that was something that I didn't really resonate with. And then just like a lot of more internal things too that I was like, you know what, I don't know if this is going to be my space for me. Like your body will give you signs if something is right for you, you know? And I was like getting panic attacks. I was stressed out all the time. Like Did
you speak up to them and be like, yo, like we got to target other people, or? Not
really, because I was like a little small fish. And so it's kind of like, not a corporate game, but it's like, I don't really have that value or insight, and I'm new to the space. So if I were to speak up, I would be scared that I would be fired or something like that. But the company I'm at now is so amazing with inclusivity and like race positivity and everything. And my head boss is actually Latina woman, and we talk about Latinas in tech all the time and how we're making new space for Latinas in the tech space. And I think that's so amazing and so revolutionary because, you know, you could come from any background. And so the company I'm at now is very ethical and very inclusive, and like I'm happy to be supported and run by a Latino woman. I'm happy to be there. So
like in tech, like what more about that technology, like phones, MacBooks, like what do you focus on over there in that company?
Yeah, so I do a lot of outbound prospecting to mid-market sized companies. So I basically like analyze a lot of data, and then through that data, I find like primed opportunities that I could then give to like my account executives for them to close deals. So the company I work at, we're like the largest B2B software review marketplace. So I think I like tell people like this, like if you're going to go out for Italian, you're going to go on Yelp and be like best Italian spots around me. And then you could find like number 1 is this, number 2 is that.
Right.
We're like that, but for software. So we're B2B. So if you guys, obviously a podcast company, maybe you're looking for like an editing system, you could go on our website and type in like best audio editing systems and see what people rank different softwares. Because if you have like $50,000 and your company looking to spend that budget on something, you kind of want to read reviews on what people are saying, right? Like it's only logical. Like if people hate something, love something. And so through that, I basically do a lot of like outbound prospecting and find primed opportunities, which it's kind of a mouthful. So I hope that made sense, but that's what I do.
Oh, sweet. And what's the top 3 right now? The best software of, let's just say, editing.
Oh God, I don't know. There's like a million categories that I work through.
Just because we're looking too, you know?
Yeah, I unfortunately like couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but like we integrate with like Salesforce, Groove, HubSpot, ZoomInfo. Like those are a lot of like kind of, I don't know, like CRM databases with contacts and stuff. But I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Do you want to open your own tech company, or do you want to open something for yourself, like in the next 5 years or a couple of years?
I don't think think I would open a tech company. I think in the next 5 years, I definitely see myself owning something, either being in fashion or beauty or podcasting. I just want to help people in some way. Like I love helping my friends. I love being somebody that people can really lean on and support in an authentic way. And I just want to help people. So maybe not in the tech space, but I think I resonate more in like beauty and fashion world.
Okay.
So if you had an unlimited budget, how would you help people?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not unlimited. That's
like, what does that mean?
Like, let's say $1 million. How would you help people?
So it's interesting. I did a presentation on work the other day on if I won the Powerball. And I said that I would literally like donate some money to Guatemala because I've been there twice now in my life. And I've seen the state that country is in. And it hurts my heart. But I would love to like give back to the communities and like build houses. Like obviously retire my parents and my immediate family as well. But I just want to like make people feel beautiful and that they could do anything, because you really can do anything. And I just want to like encourage everybody. Like you have nothing to lose. You could be anything you want to be. So just kind of giving people that right mindset and those right words and creating resources that will allow them to explore that, I think is so important.
With that being said, did you struggle in school, like going to classes or anything, like your grades keeping up? Or
no, I was actually like pretty well academically. Like I love to write papers and everything. Like I may not have been like the gold star in math, but I definitely like loved reading and writing and everything like that. I think the one thing I did struggle with was like paying almost like too attention to school. Like I wouldn't really allow myself like freedom. I'd be like so stressed and be like, okay, I have to finish this paper and like it has to be so good. Like I would kind of be strict with myself because I lived alone. I was like, I need harsh kind of deadlines and stop lines for myself. But I graduated cum laude. So
cum laude?
Yeah.
Do you think like the GPA affects someone or determines someone's worth in life, like what they're going to be?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And I think that like growing up in that situation where academics weigh so heavy, like in high school, right? Like I couldn't participate if I didn't have at least above a C average or, things like that. But it's like, we're at the day and age where we have the internet at our fingertips. Like we can go online, we can learn how to start a podcast. We can learn how to start a clothing company. We can learn how to do anything we want from the internet. So it's like, I don't think school is a make or break, but I will say school helped instill like healthy habits within myself that I carry through now. But it's not like I'm using my PR and advertising knowledge every single day.
Okay. Yeah. And for the YouTube, you do that part-time, right? Or for a fun hobby, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to get into it. I grew up doing it and like posting about it and like you know, again, kind of being that young age, like people kind of gave you a little crap about it. And I kind of took that personally. Like I didn't have an older sister or older brother to kind of be like, no, like drown out the noise, like continue doing it. But I kind of looking back at my younger self, if I could nurture her a little bit more, I would be like, F what everybody thinks. Like post if you want to post. And, you know, it just don't let that outside noise kind of kill your vibe and happiness.
And moving forward with that, how do you want to, what kind of audience are you trying to attract though?
Yeah.
With your YouTube?
So I've been making like a lot of TikToks where I post like beauty stuff. So I've, you know, do like beauty routines and fashion stuff. But I do want to like start targeting like a new audience of like mindset and like working on self-development and stuff like that, because I love to talk about that all the time. And I love to always educate myself and better myself, because I think it really all starts with your relationship you have with yourself. So I'm trying to just, I would love to like kind of open more about that side of me, because I'm kind of vulnerable with that side, you know, but I do talk about that with like a lot of my close friends, and I just want to like continue pushing on that.
So when you're having like a, let's just say quote unquote episode, what do you do to distract yourself? Like what do you do for fun?
Yeah.
What do you like to do for fun in your free time?
What do I love to do for fun? I love to DJ for fun.
Wait, what?
Yeah, DJ. So I'm like currently learning how to DJ, and I'm taking classes and courses, and also like meeting with friends. So I'm like doing that. I love music. I love to read. I'm very like, I love to work out. I probably work out 3 or 4 times a week.
Do you make music for Merc?
No.
No?
But I told him if he needs a
beats?
DJ, he knows that he can find me. But I love to work out. I think like health is wealth, and I'm so grateful that I can wake up every day and work out. And, you know, I also think it pushes your mindset to new heights. So I love to do that. I love to hang out with friends. I love to like create and cultivate, and yeah.
So what do you see your YouTube? What's it called? Or what do you see it like branding? How do you want to promote it?
I don't know yet. I think that's one thing that I've been kind of thinking about heavily lately. Like I definitely want to brand it as just me. Like I'm not trying to be anybody or take anything from anyone, you know. I just want it to be authentically myself, and like I love the color purple, so maybe like having that in there would be cool or something, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm kind of just, you know, grateful for this moment. I think I've created a really good routine with my work, with my working out, with my cooking food, which is something I love to do too. So it's like now I'm ready to take on something else, whether that's a relationship or like pouring my time into YouTube or creating new things with people or even group projects. Like I am kind of at that space where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for my next challenge. So I
like that. And
who are your 5 top YouTubers?
My 5. So I love Yes Theory. I don't know if you guys know Yes Theory. They're a great group of guys. I've been watching them for years now, and they are so inspirational. Like they explore all different parts of the world. They help give back to communities. Like some of their videos are like, we've traveled to like the most like smallest population island in the world, and they go and talk with the people there, and they meet amazing people, and they create documentary style things too. So I love them. I really like Mr. Beast a lot. Like I think he's like kind of inspirational too. Like I just watched the YouTube video he posted where he helped like 1,000 people have eyesight again. And I like, it's like you have that power, and that's what I really like about it. Not like, oh, take your hand off a car and you get the car. Like that's okay content, but
you saw that they were calling him like the Antichrist.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was people calling him the Antichrist for healing vision.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so it's like sometimes no matter what you do, people are always gonna look bad at you.
Yeah. And give you some hate. No, but I like the principle of that though. Like I thought it was very moving. Like if you have resources and connections and you can like help make someone's life better, like I look at it in that perspective of like, wow, he helped change 1,000 people's lives, you know?
True.
Not necessarily from like an Antichrist perspective, but that's kind of crazy. Like,
how would you deal with the negative comments though?
How would I deal with them? I've definitely gotten a fair share of them too. I just brush them off. I'm like, thanks for your time. Like you have nothing else to do, and then you just kind of spew negativity. That's not a reflection of me and who I am. Like I'm secure within myself, so I think it's just kind of says a lot about other people, and I haven't gotten it to that level. But I mean, I guess I would just try to remain grounded and like surround myself with good people, because I think the people that you surround yourself every day really impact like how you are as a person and your mindset. And so I hope that you know, today I surround myself with good people. 5 years down the line, I can continue to hope that I surround myself with good people in my life.
And do you just do DJ for fun, or what do you see yourself doing that too? Because I know you already said that what you want to do, but with DJ, and that kind of surprised me.
No, I would love to like learn how to like actually DJ. Like I would love to DJ at a club one day, manifesting that for this year or something like that. But like whenever I'm just on aux cord, like I just love setting a vibe. Like, and I love throwing events and event planning too. So that's another passion of mine. But I just would love to, I don't know, see where it goes. Like I've always been into music, and have like a lot of people that use my playlist a lot, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I can like dive into that a little deeper and learn about how to DJ and what that looks like. And you know, you see people coming up all the time, so I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't hurt to try something. No, be inquisitive and be curious. Just remain curious about everything, you know.
How do you, what's it called, so with the nightlife, what's one of the craziest things you've ever seen?
Oh God. One of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Well, I know something happened last night, something crazy, but
I know I didn't go out last night. I was like, I'm not going out. Although they called me at like midnight and they're like, come out. And I'm like, you think I'm just gonna like all of a sudden snap up and come? One of the craziest things I've seen, I think it's just like the like amount of movement that could happen in like 2 hours. Like we'll start somewhere, go here because someone else is here. Like we're always kind of bopping around different places. And like I love West Loop. I love River North is obviously fun too. But like Gold Coast is super fun. So I think just like going everywhere. Like 6 years ago today on my Snapchat memories, I was like partying with Riff Raff. And like I got I got his number, and I was like, what the hell? Like I should have not had Riff Raff's number. I was literally like 19 at the time, which is just so bad. But you know, I look at moments like that and I'm like, wow, I've like lived a lot of lives. Like I just,
Jesus Christ, Riff Raff. How was that? How did you meet him? How did that even happen?
We were at Prism, and it was like my first time going to like a club like that, you know. And I was with my cousin and a couple of her friends, and then all of a sudden, you know, like we got called back to the DJ booth, which was always a fun time. And then all of a sudden he comes out, and then we're just talking, and you know, he's giving us like drinks and stuff, and then like just took my phone and put his number in there and was like, what are your plans after? And I'm like, I'm literally like going home and sleeping. I'm also like my first time out in a nightclub like that, and I was like,
did you guys hit him back up to go to the after party or not?
No, absolutely not. My friends were like, you are not texting that guy back. Like
so, Raff called you over, right?
Well, yeah, we were like all at like the DJ booth, and then he was like, hey, come here. And I was like, what, me? Like, I was like, okay, like sure.
All right, so okay. So let's just say Riff Raff gave you $50K, right? And he just told you just to invest in you. What would you do with that money starting with your YouTube business right now?
Yeah, I would definitely, I feel like, invest in some type of like studio space. Like I think that right now I'm going to a gym, I'm going to Equinox, and it's a little bit pricey, but my mindset behind that is I'm willing to pay a little bit more, because I feel like if you go to a gym where people are going to show up and kind of equate that type of funding to a gym, that you're surrounded by people with similar mindsets, and you like to go there, right? If it's pretty, you're more inclined to go there. So I feel like I would invest in like a studio space, so I can literally have the intention of every time I walk through that door, some content's going to be created in some kind of capacity, whether that's brainstorming, visualizing or vision boarding, you know, like something's going to come out of that. So I definitely say some kind of like creative space. I mean, I have a lot of lighting, so I don't think I need lighting. Maybe like a camera, and then some kind of like editing engineer that can make some like really cool stuff. Like if my job is to just sit behind the camera and create content, and then someone else can do the job of like sealing it and putting a little bow on it, I think that would make a really good team. So. And
where do you see yourself going though? Like what out the state? What kind of states do you see yourself living in?
Oh, I would love to live in LA.
LA?
Yes.
Have you been to that gym? What's Bradley Martin's gym?
No.
Doghouse?
Zoo Culture. No, Zoo Culture.
No, I have not.
I got that idea just because you said all the creators go there.
Oh, really?
And that's where Zoo Culture, everyone goes. Every YouTube content creator goes there.
No, I haven't. Actually, I've probably seen it online, but I would love to have lived in LA or Miami or maybe New York, but New York's a little kind of crazy, and so I don't know, just like energetically, like there's so much going on, and so I think like I love being by the ocean and the water, so like I think LA would be sick. Have you guys been to LA?
Not yet.
Not yet, but we were just talking about this, like LA is cool, but like would you retire there?
I don't know.
It's pricey.
It's expensive for sure. I think like my end goals, I would love to have like a little farm somewhere and just have like land and like and like have little horses and like have a beautiful family and just like be able to go into my little garden and pick tomatoes and stuff, which can happen in any state realistically. But I would love for it to be like somewhere in the mountains. Like I think somewhere in like Hidden Hills would be sick, but that's so expensive. So I'm like, well, I don't know. That's kind of like just on my vision board of like if this life is limitless, what would I do? I think it would definitely be like having a little farm in Hidden Hills or something like that, and just like having some horses and some chickens and just like.
How do you like the city life though? Because I know you're right now in the middle of Lincoln Park. What made you? That's not even English. What made you want to go to like a ranch or a farm?
Yeah,
like
I think like growing up, So I grew up a lot with my Armenian grandparents, which is where I've like learned Armenian from. And they had a massive front yard. And, you know, we grew up at a perfect age where there's no tablets or like phones. So we literally just played outside all day. And my grandpa was so into gardening and like making things and building things from like different materials and stuff. So like every time I'd go over, we were always in the garage, either building something or we would be like planting, and like he had a beautiful garden. So we'd be tending to the vegetables or tending to like the flowers and stuff. And so I think having that upbringing of like spending all day outside in the beautiful sun with like the people that you love and having so much fun, just like it's so childlike, and like I feel like I get like wide-eyed because I love that. And I would love for like if I ever have kids one day for them to experience just like running in a field and like.
Have you ever taken a tea break on social media?
I have, yeah. There's definitely been times where I like need to pause and walk away from it. I think I'm pretty good within myself where I know, hey, if I need to like spend less time, I definitely like, you know, arrange my social accordingly. So I'll delete it or whatever, you know. I definitely have boundaries within myself. How long ago?
Or like, what's the longest you've ever gone without social media?
I think the longest I've ever gone without social had been like 3 or 4 weeks, which
3-4 weeks?
I think so, yeah. What? Like back in COVID or something, I definitely deleted it for a time in my life. And I just was like, I need a break, and I kind of need to pour that energy back into myself, because you get so sucked into other people's lives. And like we were talking about this earlier, like not everything is a highlight, you know, and it's just kind of you go and you see everyone's best self, which is amazing. And I get the point of that app, but it's like where TikTok, it's a little bit more different. I think a lot of people are a little more real on TikTok, which is why I think that would be a good space for me to kind of create some like wellness things in there. But
what do you think like you actually were comparing yourself more? Like at what age do you think you compare yourself more?
Definitely college. Like like especially when everyone graduated and like everyone was getting jobs, I was like, well, why not me? And you know, I was happy for my friends. Do not get me wrong. Like any win that they had, I'd be right there celebrating with them. And then after that celebration ended and maybe that you're alone, and I'm like, oh, well, damn, like, am I going to find a job too? And like, will I be successful, and will I amount to anything? And I think that's something I continuously struggle with now, is like, I'm always someone that's like, what's my next step? What's my next move? And that's a good and bad way to think, because then sometimes I'm way too hard on myself, or I move too fast through things and I'm not as present. So that's something I still kind of struggle and work with through this day, is like, you know, just take it one step at a time. Like,
that makes sense.
How did you deal with that struggle with like, with waiting for that job? Like, how were you not impatient?
Oh, I was so impatient. I think I was looking for a job for like 10 months or something. It was definitely a long bit of time. And also like with COVID, the whole world was shutting down. So on top of like the pressure of like being a new grad and trying to make my parents proud and also trying to make myself happy, like the whole world was literally shutting down, and like we had no idea what COVID was or like what those signs were. And so I definitely just like, again, dove into self-development a little bit, and I learned to be patient with yourself, and like everything happens for a reason, and everything will come to you when you're ready to receive it. And so I really just trusted in like God and the universe, and I was like, I know I'm here for a reason. I don't know what that is just yet, but what can I do now to like educate myself and do other little steps? So that's like when I learned about podcasting. Like I love Jay Shetty. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a great podcaster, interviews a lot of really cool people, has great books too. So I look up to him a lot, and I just, you know, kind of was like, what does Steph want aside from what everyone else wants me to be or become?
Right.
So I just like, one thing I learned is having patience with yourself. As hard as it is, it's needed for sure.
Did you think you learned a lot during COVID too? I don't even know if we're allowed to say that on YouTube, but did you learn a lot during COVID?
Yeah.
Or about yourself?
For sure, yeah. And like,
what should we call it? The vid?
Yeah.
During the Rona, I learned so much. Like this bookshelf I have over here, I don't know if you can see, but I have a lot of different books from like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, like Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's obviously a classic book. Like so many, like Think and Feel Great. Like I really took the time to like want to build certain skill sets within myself, like mindset that I could then bring to any job, whether I'm in tech, whether I'm in beauty, whether I'm in sales, like whatever I'm in, like I can bring a really good mindset to something. And like everyone's teachable. So it's like if you have your base building blocks really solid and solidified, you could add anything to it. And so that was like, well, if I can't find a job and I'm out here for like 10 months not really making moves, I can make moves within myself that still count. Like, it's not like the resume is the make or break at all. And I think that's one thing that I was so, like, I literally had, like, 3 internships, 2 jobs, like, was constantly, like, trying to, like, do things in my sorority and stuff. And it was like, well, that's great, but what about yourself as a person? If you got all that taken away from you, like, where does your worth lie and where do your values lie? And so that's when I was like, hold on, I'm doing this all wrong. And so that's when I kind of just dove into myself. And like, I love to give books to my friends. Every time they come over, I'm like, read this book or take this book, you know, because I really do think it's like, if you are good as a person, you can learn anything.
You're so well spoken. I'm going to tell you that. How'd you develop? No, yeah, seriously. But how'd you develop those skills? Like, you're very well spoken. Obviously, you have practice in public speaking.
Yeah.
How did you practice those skills? Did you develop them or did you
just
born with them or what?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for saying that. I think it may have been just like, honestly, like reading all these books, like all these books about self-development and building yourself up to the person that your dream self is, I think has really contributed to that. And also I think just like going to school and stuff, like I constantly have to give presentations at work and like, I think confidence is a really big thing too. And like fake it till you make it type of thing, you know, like always show up and like, you know, you may not feel that way on the inside, but if you show up being like, okay, I'm ready to go, this or that, you could kind of trick yourself to thinking that's true, you know? So it's kind of like, I just kind of show up to anything and I'm like ready to bat. So.
And with like more mental health, what did you struggle with? I know everyone struggles with anxiety. Everyone thinks it's the end of the world, but what's something that you
So I would say like last year was one of like the hardest years of my life that I've had to go through. With that job, I had experienced a lot of like disassociation, which is really scary to feel, but it's basically like when you can't connect with your current reality. And, you know, I come from a very loving home. I've had a very good childhood. So I've never really experienced anxiety with tests and stuff, but this was kind of next level for me. And, there was like a couple moments when I was sitting in this apartment by myself and I would like look at my hands and I wouldn't be able to like recognize them. And that was just a crazy phenomenon to me because I'm like, no, they're my hands, but I just looked at them and they were foreign. And there was just a couple moments where like I had called a couple friends on FaceTimes and I couldn't see their face. They were literally like black and blotchy. And that's called disassociation. And it's when your body is in such like a fight or flight mode that it's like turning off everything. So it's like supposed to be protecting you, right? But it just kind of made me spiral like this because like, oh my God, I don't know what my hands are and I'm on FaceTime and I can't see your face. And that is so scary. And so that's when I knew my mental health was really bad because I also really wasn't working out and taking care of myself. And the people in my life were kind of adding to those stresses a little bit too. And it was a lot from that job. And that really taught me to like put yourself first. And like I also became really in tune with breath work because when I was freaking out, like I thought everything was crumbling. I was like, I have to be in tune with my breath. Like I have to just ground myself. And then like on top of that, I'd be like out and about at Target or like Walmart or Walgreens, whatever. And like fluorescent, how do you say it? Fluorescent lights. Is that how you say it?
I honestly don't.
I don't know. I can't say that.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Fluorescent lights. They would be a trigger for me. So I remember I was there was like a Japanese market that I went to and like the fluorescent lights triggered that disassociation. And I immediately like, I don't know what it was, but it was like a specific lighting. And I was like, I need to get out of here. And I've never been that kind of person to like leave anywhere and abruptly be like, hey, I don't feel good, we need to leave. Like I've always been the tough cookie and I can like bottle it up. But like New Year's 2020, like I was with a bunch of friends and I was like, it just turned midnight and all of a sudden this anxiety trigger went on and I was like, hey, we need to like leave. Like, and it's New Year's, right? Like I'm always really cool and collected and like I was like, I don't feel good. Like I need to leave. And I was literally shaking in the car from anxiety. And it's all the time when I was like at this bad job, there was a lot of shifts in my life and I didn't know what my next step was. I thought I was very much centered and caged in this one job, and I didn't know what was next, and my body was really like flaring, like all these like turn light on, like all like the check engine lights on all my body were all on, and I was like, you know, I need to do something for myself, and like I got myself a therapist, which is amazing, and like I'm such an advocate for therapy. Like I was in it for about 2 years, and I'm like, healthy people, I think, really go to therapy. You know, you don't have to have something crazy traumatic to go to therapy and enjoy speaking with somebody. Like, you could be healthy, you could be going through things, whatever it is. I think it's just like a self-development thing. So I started going to therapy, started really prioritizing myself, and like cut ties with people and things that no longer served me, like that job. I was like, I gotta go, and I don't know what's next, but I'll figure it out. And thankfully, you know, I'm at a better place now, but that I've definitely experienced a lot of mental health things. And
so you lost a lot of friends when you started to grow. That's what I'm hearing, kind of.
A little bit, yeah. It's just kind of like a switch. It's like, I think people leave your life, and that's totally fine, because other people on their journey too, and that makes room for new people to come. Like these two friends that are right here right now, I've known for probably about a year, and they're amazing and so encouraging and like so beautiful, and like I love and cherish those connections that I have, and the ones that I still have to this day of like old friends too. But I think it's like when people leave your life, maybe you guys aren't mutually aligned on certain things, and that's okay, because people move and transgress and like evolve all the time, and so it's just part of life, I think.
So what would you say, how many close friends do you think you have?
Like close
friends,
like to the die.
Yes.
Probably like four or five, yeah, that I can like really call up and be like, the world, like if I was having a massive panic attack, right? You know, which happens to people all the time. Like I think I could really trust in like 4 or 5 people of being like, please, I'm so vulnerable right now, and like please help steer me in the right direction, instead of maybe a friend that would be like, oh, why are you freaking out about that, or like, you know, approaching it from more of like a judgmental point, or like fueling that fire, which is horrible too, right?
How would you help someone though that's suffering with like a panic attack right now?
Yeah, I would just tell them that like breathe, and like something that happened to me, like when I was have panic attacks, I always remind myself that this too shall pass. With any stressful situation, whether it's a moment of like at the gym and you're trying to get a final rep, I'm like, this moment will pass. Like just do it, and then like 10 minutes later, it'll be a different situation, you know? And so I think if someone was having a panic attack right here, I would probably just tell them to breathe, and to like, I would put on some calming music, give them water, and be like, this will pass. It's just whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're intellectualizing. It's just a moment in the grand scheme of the life that we're going to live, and like, it'll be okay. And I wish, you know, sometimes I had someone to like hold my hand like that and give me support while I was, you know.
Are you religious though?
No, I'm more spiritual, I think.
Okay.
So I'm more connected to like the universe. But I went to Catholic grammar school. What?
Zodiac signs?
Yeah, oh my god, I love astrology. Yes, I'm a Scorpio, so I love astrology.
What are you again? You're a Libra, no?
Yeah.
You're a Libra, so you're all about balance.
Yeah.
Someone said.
What are you?
I'm Aquarius.
Oh my god, wait, I was kind of getting Aquarius vibes. Wait, don't tell me what you are. Are you a Virgo?
I'm a Libra.
Oh, you're a Libra?
Yeah.
No way. Okay, cool. That's so cool.
What's an Aquarius vibe, and what's a Libra vibe, and what's a...
Yeah, so Libras are all about like aesthetic pleasing things. Like Libras love to like have nice things, or like look pretty or whatever. I mean, you're a guy, so I don't know how you feel about that. But
Thanks, man.
but Libras they're like the sign of the scale. So they're all about finding a balance in life, whether that's work and play, or like, you know, different things in life that you need to balance. Like that's kind of like your main life's journey, is to like find that harmonious balance between like your time with yourself, your time with work, time with friends. It's kind of like, you know, creating that schedule. Aquariuses are super intellectual. Like they have great conversation. They are a lot of like, you guys do a lot of research before you do anything. Aquarians are kind of like the wise sign of the zodiac sign, where you will
self-esteem.
like literally, but it's like you guys are very fast-witted, and you're an air sign, and so air signs are very like fast, like gone with the wind, come with the wind type thing. So it's like when you make a decision, you're very like, all right, we're doing this. So yeah, and I'm a Scorpio.
That is crazy. That's exactly him.
Really?
Yeah.
We booked Miami like literally a day. Once the girl told me, yeah, you guys can come to Miami, we booked the flights the next day.
You're like, okay, we're here.
Yeah, so like right now.
Well, yeah, but it's like you're very like adamant and to the point, but you also are like wise in the sense where like you'll do research before you do any sort of solidified thing in action. So
I only ask just because you know, I feel like everyone they look for hope.
Yeah.
And that's why for me I'm religion, and that's why I believe in God, and I'm like, that's what gives me hope and keeps going. Totally. For you, it's astrology.
I love astrology. I also I respect all religions too. Like I grew up in a Catholic grammar school, high school. Like DePaul is a Catholic university too, and like my mom's very religious. You know, the Spanish mothers, like they die on that hill. So like I go to mass and stuff. Like I do. Sometimes if I get nervous, I will pray to God, but sometimes if my voice is more so like the universe. Like I'm like, you know what, the universe, I'm in your hands. But it's kind of like the same kind of verbiage, I guess, with God. You know, like God, I'm in your hands. Like you will lead me to whatever path I need to be on. But
do you believe in ghosts?
A little bit. I don't want to think that there's like bad spirits out there, but I think it's like kind of, why do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, I do.
Like, why do you bring that up? Do you see a ghost right now?
No, because when I pray, I'm not that religious either, but when I hear something or something scares me, I'm like, okay, God, I know I don't talk to you a lot, but
but just me checking in, I'm tapping in. I haven't tapped in a couple months, but I just need to protect you.
I do that when I'm drunk and I'm throwing up. I'm like, God, I'm not gonna.
I know. I'm like, God, if you can get me through this, I 100%. Promise I'll change. No, I mean, I don't cultivate any negative or bad energy, so hopefully I wish all that stuff away. But I think there is a really heavy side. There's a lot of aspects of humans as they are, you know, and so I'm I think there is a heaviness with that stuff, but I do not dabble. I do not want to find out, but I do love watching murder shows or stuff like that. But that's Scorpio and me. I love kind of the deeper weird things.
Is there a certain sign that you wouldn't date just because you're?
Yeah. Geminis.
So why not?
My ex-boyfriend was a Gemini and lied that said he was in the FBI for 9 months and this whole crazy story and made up a lot of things, and I'm I can never be with a Gemini ever again in my life. It's hot and cold, so their sign is the twins, so they're very duality. They could be two personality. You can see me one moment being this and then it's this, and I'm I just can't do that anymore. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I just am not about that. I cannot.
How did he convince you he was in the FBI though?
This is so stupid talking about it out loud. He would just tell me things and be you can't tell any oh my God, sorry guys. He was I have a really big secret and I really trust you. And you cannot tell anybody because this is so real and so personable to me. And Scorpios, one thing about us, we're so loyal. If you tell me something, I will really keep it to myself. I'm not the type of person to blab your business all around. And so when he was I need to tell you something, and I'm confide in me. Yes. I love that. I love that people trust me. And he was so I really don't work at a cell phone repair shop. It's actually a front, and I'm in the FBI, and my boss is JB Pritzker, and I report to him every day, and there's safe houses all around Chicago where we go and we'll hunt bad people, and I have a gun and I have paperwork, and there's a safe with unlimited money. And I was also 18 at the time, and I was wait, what? This is what you do? And he just fabricated such a story. And again, because I'm very loyal, I never really went to my friends, and I've never been hey, this is what X person's telling me, is this real or not? I really took that shit in. Right. And then, when everything started hitting the fans, I really started to let my friends in, and I was hey, he also said this, and they're Steph, what? And I'm what? And they're that's the biggest red flag. How did you not connect 2 and 2? And I'm damn, I guess maybe it was, and I just didn't.
Why do you lie? Yeah.
Because he was just kind of going through some things. He also lied and said he was adopted, and he said that my family really inspired him, and there was a lot of guiltness and kind of gaslighting on my end. And toward the end of that relationship, I wasn't the nicest partner either, but he'd lied a lot to me, and I just wanted to help him and fix him, and just wanted to aid him. But now looking back, I'm come correct or don't come at all. I have no energy to fix anybody or do anything like that. It's just such a project. But yeah, never Geminis again. End of story.
Well, maybe he was in the FBI. Right?
The thing is, though, I was can you show me proof? I'm okay, do you have paperwork? You definitely have to have paperwork. Or let me see your gun. And it was every time this conversation got brought up, it was just dead end. Oh, I don't have my gun, or oh, I can't find the paperwork. And I'm what? And all of a sudden he was let go. like let go from the job. Wow. And he was terminated from his FBI job and like couldn't find a job for like 7 months. And then I was like, well, babe, like if your boss was JB Pritzker, give him a fucking call. You can get anywhere in the city that you want. And that's when I was like, stop lying. Stop laughing over there.
So when you called him out, what did he say?
I don't even remember. It was just so long ago and so like traumatic in my mind that I kind of shut it out. I can't believe I'm talking about it right now. But it was just crazy and like, but a lot of my friends that were friends with him were like, he lied to me too. Like he said that he like bought me like a Cartier watch that was like $100,000 to my best friend and like just weird things that like didn't exist and like he still lives with his mom and like just weird things and it should have been a red flag right from the jump, but I now know that I will never do that again. So
you were 18, right?
Yeah.
So what would you tell yourself like now, like kind of like wrapping up, what would you tell yourself, your 18-year-old self now?
Yeah.
What's an advice you would give yourself?
I would just say to follow your passions. And, like, don't let other people's opinions really impact you in any way. Like, become so secure within yourself and what you want to do and remain curious and just follow that trail. And, like, you'll find your people and you'll find people that want to add value to your life and will respect you. And just don't live for other people. Like, life is way too short to be living a life to please other people. Like, find that happiness within yourself. Like, be a fucking rock star and just live life and go. Yeah. And like this year, my intention for 2023 is to like not limit myself to not reaching my full potential. And like, if I want to try DJing, try it out. Like, who's there to tell you not to? If I want to try producing or doing something like that, like try everything because life is too short to not try different things. So that's something I've been living by
amazing.
This year.
That's anything last questions or?
Oh no, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
What are your socials again? Drop your socials.
Yeah, my socials at Steph Gerjikian on TikTok, on Instagram, and everything like that. So.
All right, let's go. In your 20s, let's go.
Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Thank you for having me. Yay! I'm sweating.